Welcome to all the viewers joining us for this Gallop TV selection show. Racing takes place at Fairview on the Poly Track Friday the 18th of November. And of course, we do have a double header on Friday. The Turffontein race meeting that was moved to the night. So it is a night meeting over at Turffontein. But we are focusing on the meeting over at Fairview. And on the line with me is former Port Elizabeth trainer Grant Paddock. And Grant, how are you doing? Good to have you on the line with us today.
Yeah, morning, Rahil. Thank you for having me, and all good down here in Port Elizabeth at the moment.
Good stuff. Looking forward to the 8 races on the program over at PE. You tell me that you've got a place accumulator lined up for the guys and a car that looks to be competitive, but cash to be made.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of cash to be made. 1 or 2 tricky races, but early on there looks like there's a bit of cash to be made.
Okay, sweet. Let's start off with race number 1 on the program, which is a maiden plate for the fillies and mares over 1,000 meters. Now, horse number 1, Tide is High, has been priced up as a favorite at around 8 to 10 in the market, with the scratching of number 2, She's Kind of Magic. Obviously, this horse isn't allowed to run here, as she did shed a maiden tag this week. Tide is High, last time out, this was the horse that attracted quite a bit of support in the market come race time, but no doubt she would have needed the run. She would have tightened up back at home with that run underneath the belt, 3 weeks off. And do you make her the one that they all have to beat now?
Rahil, I do. I must tell you, this is not the strongest of maiden fields. She's a filly that came back after a lengthy layoff last time out for an injury that she had. She needed the run very, very badly. She has since had a poly gallop, which was pretty good as well. And good jockey, good draw. 8 to 10, a bit on the thin side. But in this field, she doesn't have to be too good to beat this lot.
Just touching on the trainer, Kelly Mitchell, she's got off to a flying start in the training ranks.
Absolutely, Rahil. She's in partnership with my son down there. He does a lot of work with her. They're partners. And they're really doing a great job. Terribly good strike rate. Looks like they're getting the things done. And they're winning with average horses as well, which is a good sign. But she's doing a wonderful job, I've got to tell you. And the horses are looking great. And she's doing pretty much what's required.
Let's hope the good form can continue in race number 1. The one more horse that I want to touch on is number 8, Little Miss KJ. Now, she's a runner that does return off quite a lengthy layoff, 170 days since her last start down in KZN, over 1,400 meters. But she runs for the informed Sharon Cotton Yard, and if just not needing the outing, she could be competitive. In her 2-year-old days, she did put up some decent forms, a run behind Erdevi, not far behind Pantia. So runs like that could see her competitive?
Yeah, listen, as I said to you in the beginning, you don't have to be too special to be competitive in this race. There's no doubt. She's a new filly, changed the yard. Sharon's in top form. Louis as well, good draw. So she's probably the biggest danger in the field, I would suggest, to the one.
For the guys looking for numbers for the bar pot, possibly include numbers 1, Tide is High, and number 8, Little Miss KJ. Now we'll move along to race number 2 on the program. Maiden plate for the fillies and mares, this time over the 1,900 meter trip. And once again, not a strong lineup that shape up for the opening leg of the PA. And they bet in 2 to 1 the field here with My Guru, your favorite, at 2 to 1 with Keegan DeMello aboard for Gavin Smith. Aleski is at 5 to 2 in the market. Gavin Smith, JP van der Merwe. And this horse here, horse number 1, Grant, has the first run for Gavin Smith, first run in PE. And if not needing the run, she could actually build on that last start behind Rarotonga Rose, who has come through to win once again.
Yeah, Rahil, once again, this is a very, very, very weak field. She's a new filly. She has had issues her last 3 starts with not striding and coughing and bumped at the start. So there are excuses. These Joburg horses seem to need 1 or 2 runs to find their best form in Port Elizabeth, though. My Guru's had the 1 run which she needed. She's up in trip now. She can only improve as well. And then the ever consistent St. Patrick's Day, which I thought was probably the right horse in the race if the other 2 are going to be needing a run. So St. Patrick's Day is probably the right one. It looks like a place accumulator banker to me. Consistent form. She's had many chances. The 1.5 comes off for Rachel. And I think she could be the right one in this race.
I have to agree with you on that. She is proven over the course and distance as well. And Rachel Vinegar, she's teaming up with Zitzman over the past couple of weeks, and they've had quite a bit of success. So St. Patrick's Day, as Grant mentioned, a possible place accumulator banker. And Grant, in your PA, you've banked her?
I've banked it in the place accumulator. The buy pot, you're going to probably need one of the Smith horses as cover, either the 1 or the 4.
Lovely stuff. Now we're going to move along to race number 3 on the program, an MR68 over the 1900 meter trip. And I like the horse in this lineup in the form of number 10, Secret Link. And this horse has been dropping down in the ratings. He was once upon a time on a mark of 80. He's come down to a 61, where he ran a much improved race last time out, beaten under 2 lengths behind Masters Queen. And that was in a classified race, and we all know those classified stakes races, they suit the fillies, and the Masters Queen was victorious there. Now this horse, I thought he ran a fair race with Keegan aboard. He's an informed jock, Gavin Smith teaming up. I thought he's a horse that could be one that at around 5-1 in the market is worth a bet on the head. I've made him one of my suggested bets. My suggested bet is a double, but I see that there has been some support for this one. 5-1 down, 7-2 in the market. He's had one start over the course and distance for 1/3, and I'm expecting him to build on that last start, and he does have a neat draw as well.
Yeah, Raheel, listen, he's got everything in his favour. DeMello in the irons, good draw, galloping weight, improvement in his last 3 runs actually. He's been running on, so 1900, not an issue, but this is a very, very competitive field. I wouldn't be going shallow here. There's horses that are holding form, the likes of Crafty Heart, definitely Young Nelson. And this horse I've picked out here, number 4, Cane Lime and Soda. He's now finding himself, he's getting his form back. The kid knows him very well. A very good run to Almas Tower last time out, beaten a length and a half only, running on
Possibly
strongly.
Too far back last time out.
It probably does, but he's a horse that's quirky. He needs to be ridden from off the pace, switched off and run on. So I don't see him giving that much start, but he is definitely a big runner. There's no doubt about it. And then, the question mark horse here is number 7, Heathcliff. Unfortunately, he's drawn 12. It's his first run out the maidens, but I can tell you when he won his maiden, he won with a ton in hand. He could have won a lot easier than he did. That horse, Global Drummer, came out and won his next start. So that's not a bad run at all. Obviously, that draw is a concern. But Richard Fourie is a master of bad draws. You'll probably give him a bit of a chance and run at them. But Secret Link, I did see early money for him. Also a runner. But this is a tricky race where a person has to go a little bit wider.
How many numbers have you included in your PA grant?
I've actually gone 3 horses here, Raheel. I've gone the 4, Cane Lime and Soda, Young Nelson, who's the course and distance specialist, and the 6, the Crafty Heart, who has got consistent form. If you want to go a slightly bigger, I'd add in one more, which would be the 10.
4, 5, 6 for Grant Paddock in race number 3 on the program. And as I mentioned, I like number 10, a Secret Link. Now we're going to move along to race number 4, which is a classified stakes for the fillies and mares over 1600 meters. Average rating of a 64 here, and the Sharon Cotton inmate ROSA DOURADA is the one that I quite like at around 12-1 in the market. I thought that this horse offered a tremendous value. She's had 6 starts to date for 1 win. She is a 3-year-old. She's improving nicely. She has a 3rd run after rest, and last time out she was a horse that did run on quite strongly to be beaten under 2 lengths behind Duchess Bernadette, who she had to concede 1.5 kgs to. She remains on a mark of 72. And I think with Jose Ramzan back in the irons, he's a jockey that did shed a maiden tag on her. She's got a neat draw to contend with as well. And I think 3rd run after rest, she's going to be spot on for this outing. And she's the horse that I think the improvement does lie with, and at 12-1 in the market, I certainly suggest that the guys could have a go on this one here, ROSA DOURADA in race number 4.
Okay, Raheel, I see that. I picked that up. Good draw, galloping weight. The kid knows her.
You're confident
obviously, the
on
yard is
horse,
in form.
You're confident on a horse here?
I'm very confident on the one Opulence. I'm very, very confident. I made her my best bet on the day. Very, very confident. Last time out, she couldn't get herself in the race over 1,200 meters. They've upped her to a mile. She finished in 21.7 last time out. Richard retains the ride. Massive, massive runner. I think she'll be very, very hard to beat over the mile. Then we got a horse like Chronicles of Narnia. She's having her first run on the poly, but she's a very good-looking filly. Good daughter of Louis the King. Unfortunately, she's drawn out at 10, so she's going to have a bit of work to do, but she's one that's for the notebook as well. Duchess Bernadette did get a 5-point penalty for that last win, so she'll probably got a bit more to do. She's probably held by your fancy Rose of DOURADA. But I really think the winner will come from the one. Another horse to chat about here, you'll probably know it a bit better than me, is that horse Demigod, number 2. She's been running at a much higher level in Greyville. She loves the poly, and she seems to be a solid front runner as well. You know, she ran 5.5 lengths to Dawn of a New Day, which was a pretty decent run. So, but you'll know more about that one. But I still think Opulence probably one of the better bets on the card.
Yes, certainly Demigod, if not just needed in the outing, she is distance suited, and she would, despite 60 kgs on the back, I think that she should be a runner that and one that you include into the mix. But Grant, very, very confident on number 1, Opulence, and that's his best bet on the program. I'm in the camp of number 8, Rosa DOURADA. Now, next up, we're going to move along to race number 5, which does start jackpot 2 on the program, 1,200 meters a trip. It's an MR 67 handicap, and number 1, Glass Shoes. Now, she was a horse that showed quite a bit of guts on debut when getting the job done. There was some money around for her, but she does take on open company now, straight out the maiden. 60 kgs on the back. Certainly not going to be an easy task.
Not at all. You know, she's going to first run out the maidens from draw 9, carrying 63-year-old filly against the boys as well. She's going to have it all to do. If she comes through this one with flying colours, then she is obviously way above average. But I like a horse here. This horse, Cool Runnings. You know, he won extremely well last time out from El Romiachi in a very comfortable 2.5 lengths. Also, probably a hand ride. He did get a 5-point penalty, but I think in this field he's still ahead of the handicapper. Verified number 6 also. Holding consistent form, good poly form, so you should be there and thereabouts. And then we have Silver Stardust. You know, he showed pace in Johannesburg, but he has got a bad draw. But he could be anything, you know, 1,400 Joburg, 1,200 P. Alan does have a tendency to bring them out in a sprint first time out and give them, let them see the track. And then number 3, Psychedelic Eric, but one draw in his favour. Looks like he could prefer the 1,000 meters though, so pretty open race. My personal pick here will be Cool Runnings.
I'm with you on that one. Cool Runnings, I have to agree with you. You did win quite cozily last time out, that 2.5 length margin, beating El Romiachi, and 5 points, I think that's fair. And I think he's a horse that could certainly go back to back. He's a horse that I know showed the team back here down in KZN quite a bit back at home, but he was just a frustrating horse to follow, and one that now with confidence on his side, I think that he'll do really well over in Fairview. So Cool Runnings, that's going to be the top pick for both Grant and myself, and horses like Silver Stardust, Verified, wants to keep a very close eye on. Now we're going to move along to race number 6 on the program, a fillies and mares 72 handicap over 1,000 meters. And I thought a race with quite a bit of form to work with. It is a tricky lineup here. And just having a look at the market, Easy Living has been priced up at 4-1. That's your favorite, along with the Tipsy Tina, who did win a last start, and Divine Destiny, the horse that is a one-time winner from 11 starts, is at 9-2. A tricky race, and a race where you possibly want to go a bit wider in those exotics, Grant.
There's no doubt. Listen, Tipsy Tina won a very good race last time out of the maidens, and she won in a good time as well. Both her 2,000 meter times were good, or above the average. So 57.12, 57.22. Those are good 1,000 meter times. Unfortunately, the 11 draw. That's put me off a little bit, but she's got to be in the money. She's holding good form, good times. Rachel on, she's got to be. And then the filly that probably going to be her biggest danger is this filly Easy Living. You know, her poly form has been extremely good. She seems to grow another leg on the poly. JP's riding very, very well. So, you know, Easy Living's got to be there. And then Persica, number 2. She's a very, very speedy filly. Drawn 2 with Louis up. She'll be out in front, there's no doubt, from that draw. So if the wind is not too bad, she could stay there. The rest of the field, the Divine Dynasties, Lavidas, you know, they're all having their first runs here. Cape Town, you know, once again, Alan likes to give them a sprint up before they go over their ride trip. So let's watch those. But I think the winner will come from either Tipsy Tina, Easy Living, or Persica.
Certainly Tipsy Tina I think despite that 2-point penalty, she looks fairly well in once again here. She is course and distance suited, and Grant mentioning that the draw is a slight concern for him. It's not going to be a huge concern for me because she did win from a 10 draw last time out, and Rachel got her into a handy position, and she quickened up very, very nicely in the closing stages of proceedings. So she'll be the top choice. Persica, just having a look at her form, based on her last start, she must be competitive, but her poly form is poor to say the least. 5 runs for 5 blanks, so she certainly needs to improve on the poly track. But she does get Loom Koto aboard, and she is neatly drawn in gate number 2. So competitive lineup, race number 6, and a race where you possibly want to go as wide as the budget does allow. Now we're going to move along to race number 7, 1400 meters the distance, and we see the PE superstar, Global Drummer, in action. And what's the vibe on course when this horse, Global Drummer, takes to the track, Grant? Is there a buzz? Do a lot of people come to the races to see him watch? What's it like back at home?
Yeah, it's pretty much a decent vibe, and this is a real quality field, I must tell you. He's a top horse, and he's coming back from a break. Gavin will have him there or thereabouts. He won't be 100%, I don't think, but he's been off for 109 days. But he's an absolute soldier. He's a smashing-looking horse, and he really always puts his best foot forward.
The horse Mount Anderson, last time out, possibly a touch too far over 2,000 meters in the Algoa Cup. He's been dropped back to 1,400, third run in PE. He's got to carry 61 kgs on the back, drawn in gate number 9, but he is suited to the poly track, so he's certainly a horse that must be included into the mix. And I think at 7-1, that represents some tremendous value for a runner that possibly does meet easier company here.
Rahil, only the draw is a concern. That's it. There's a massive amount of pace in this race. They're really, really going to go hard. Life on Mars, Green Light to Heaven, Global Drummer, all very, very, very pacey horses. The speed is going to be on, and it might just play into the hands of Mount Anderson and Celtilus as well. Unfortunately, Celtilus got a 5-point penalty last start, so he's held by Green Light to Heaven as well as Life on Mars. This is a very, very good race. The form horse in the race is Green Light to Heaven. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. His last run from draw 10 out of 10 was very, very good. He's now got a 1 draw Rachel up. Going to be a hard nut to track, I can tell you that. But Mount Anderson, if they go too fast and stop, he'll run them down.
So fair to say Green Light to Heaven would be your top choice?
Green Light to Heaven, definitely my top choice in the race from Mount Anderson, Life on Mars, and Global Drummer.
5-2. Those are top 2 picks for Grant. And for myself, I'll be with number 2, Mount Anderson. I think he's got the class to beat a field of this nature. Now, the final race on the program, 1,300 meters the distance. It's an MR72, where Modern Magician is your favorite at 16-10 in the market. Now, he ran behind the smart Anfield's Rocket last time out. And if he doesn't need the run, then he should take out Power of Beating in this lineup. He's down in class. He's been taking on B class fields, C class fields. And despite 60.5 kgs on the back, he should be a horse that is a class above this. Yes,
Rahil, listen, that last run was exceptional. He has had 1 run on the poly, unfortunately, and it wasn't too good. He got beaten 9 1/4 lengths. So you have to look at that. But if fits in well, he's got to be a huge runner.
Looking past him, which horse would you possibly single out as one that could challenge him for that victory?
Rahil, the form horse is the 6 Soweto Rose. From a good draw, holding form. T. Gould knows the horse well. He's won on him before, twice in fact. So he's probably going to be my first choice. After that, it starts getting open up. We go down to a horse, number 11, Russian Empire at any price. From a good draw with Louis up. Finished in 1,000 meters last time out at 22.3 behind Spanish Fort, making late progress. He's got to be a runner. And then Razor Red Lantern also, he hasn't had a run on the poly. His first run on the poly, so he could be anything.
This horse, Soweto Rose, well, if Cool Running certainly does run well early on in the card, then I think this horse, Soweto Rose, will certainly shorten in the market, and he could actually be the right horse in the race from a neat draw of gate number 2 with a T Coulter board. So all depends on number 1, Modern Magician, whether he's fit enough and whether he'll take to the poly. But as Grant mentioned, number 6, Soweto Rose, is the likely horse to possibly challenge him. Now, next up, we're going to move along to our suggested bets, and we'll start off with the Grant suggested bet. He tells us that he's got a place accumulator lined up for the guys, and let's have a look at that. PA Grant, take us through your suggested bet.
Okay, Rahul, the first leg, we're going to be bankering the 2, St. Patrick's Day, the form horse. We're then going to go on to leg 2, the 4, 5, and 6. The third leg, Opulence and Chronicles of Narnia, 1 and 7. Then we go on to the 6 and 10, Verified and Cool Runnings. After that, we're going to go on to 2 and 9, Persica and Gypsy Tina. Then 2 and 5, Mount Anderson and Green Light to Heaven. And in the last leg, we're going 6, 11, and 12.
6, 11, and 12 in the final race for that place accumulator from Grant. And your best bet, you're quite confident on Opulence getting the job done, especially the way she quickened up last time out, and then place bet Green Light to Heaven. And next up, we're going to move along to my suggested bet, and we'll have a look at this. And I've gone wins on Secret Link in race number 3, and then I think in race number 4, horse number 8, ROSA DOURADA, looks to be a nice place bet. I'd suggest a few wins as well at around 12 to 1 in the market, but as you heard from Grant, he's quite bullish on Opulence in the exact same race. So maybe some exactors box, swingers box with those 2 horses in race number 4. And that's the preview for Fairview on Friday. It's been a pleasure working alongside Grant Paddock over in Fairview. And Grant, thanks for your assistance, and hopefully we've guided the guys in the right direction on Friday.
Thank you very much, Rahil, and we'll chat soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Grant. And all the best, guys. Happy punting come Friday over at Fairview, and hopefully you in the winner's queue.